So I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. We're going to be talking about special patterns. One of them is called the difference of two squares, and that's when it looks something like this. A number squared minus another number squared. This works when this term and this term are perfect squares, which means you can take the square root of them. When that is the case, you just take the square root of each one, and pretty much you have a plus and a minus. So for example, okay, and it has to be a minus sign. That's why it's called difference of two squares. There has to be the minus sign between them. So x squared and 16, both of those are perfect squares. I know the square root of x squared is x times x, or not, the square root of x squared is x, because x times x is x squared. The square root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. It's the difference between two squares, so I know it will work. I know I can have x plus 4 times x minus 4. Boom. Okay, on b, I know b will not work no matter what, even though x squared is a perfect square and so is 25. It's not going to work because it's not the difference between two, so this can't be a plus. Well, it's not the difference of two squares, so I can't do it that way. All right, yes, that one is, because the square root of 4x squared is going to be 2x, because 2x times 2x is 4x squared. And the square root of 25 is 5, because 5 times 5 is 25. It's the difference between the two of them, so I know my answer is going to be 2x plus 5 times 2x minus 5. D. D will not work, because 10 is not a perfect square. Not going to work for me. Okay, on this next one, I don't like the way it's written, okay? So I'm going to flip-flop it, right? So if I flip-flop it, it would say negative 25x squared plus 81. Okay, so some of you might be like, hey, that's a plus sign, not the difference. But what I'm going to do, this first term is a negative, so what I'm going to do is, just kidding. We can keep it that way, sorry. Not going to flip-flop that one. Okay, so I know 81 is a perfect square because 9 times 9 is 81. Sorry, I'm kind of rushed right now. 25x squared, that'd be 5x times 5x. So that one is good to go. So I know it's the difference between the two of them. So 9 plus 5x times 9 minus 5x. Okay, this one I do want to flip-flop because there's a plus sign between them. So if I flip-flop them, it would say x squared minus 36. So do you see how it really is the difference between two of them? All right, so I know the square root of x squared is x because x times x is x squared. The square root of 36 is 6 because 6 times 6. It's the difference between the two of them, so I know that's going to be x plus 6 times x minus 6. All right, so I want you to try those next, A through F on your own, and let's just jump to example 2 real quick. On example 2, it's pretty much what we did yesterday. We're going to continue factoring, okay, but we're going to take out the greatest common factor first, so just some practice. I think I'm going to let you do those. All right, so that's going to be your homework. You can do, I'll do one with you. That'll be nice. Okay, so on A, the greatest common factor. First thing I need to find. So I'm looking at 6, 21, and 9. I'm trying to find the greatest number that will be divisible by all of those, and that's going to be 3. Then I look for if they have anything else in common, like variables. Well, I see x's here and here, but this one does not, so they do not have x's in common. So 3 is my greatest common factor. So let's go ahead and take 3 out. I'm trying to get to 6x squared, so I know 3 times 2x squared would give me 6x squared. Now I'm trying to get to negative 21x, so 3 times negative 7x. And then finally 3 times a positive 3 will give me that 9. Okay, I know my signs are going to be the same. and they're both going to be minus signs. So I can go ahead right away and put my signs. My factors of 2x squared are 2x times x. My factors of 3 are 1 times 3 and 3 times 1. So 2x, x. I'm going to try 1 and 3. So that's going to give me a negative 1x. That's going to give me a negative 6x. Together that gives me negative 7x, which is exactly what I wanted right here. So I know I did it correctly. This is what I was looking for. What I cannot forget is to put the greatest common factor that we took out first. I'll do one more with y'all. Let's try C. Greatest common factor. Okay, so I'm looking at 10, 22, and 24, finding the biggest number that will go into all of those, which is 2. And then I look for anything else. They do not all have x's, so that's not in common, so let's take out that 2. Well, to get to 10x squared, I know 2 times 5x squared would give me the 10x squared. 2 times 11x would give me that 22x. And then 2 times a negative 12 would give me that negative 24. Okay, this tells me my signs will be different, which means I'm on 1 plus and 1 minus. Okay, I need to find my factors of 5x squared, which is 5x times x. My factors of 12, which are 1 times 12, 12 times 2, 2 times 6, 6 times 2, 3 times 4, and 4 times 3. Okay, we said the signs are different, so I can't put them yet. All right, so let's try 5x, x. Alrighty, let's try 3 and 4. Go ahead and jump here. Got a good feeling. So when I do that, that gives me 3x. That gives me a 20x. So I know together a 3 and a 20 can either give me a 23 or a 17. Not what I want, right? So scratch that out. Let's try the next one. Let's try 4 and 3 this time. So this gives me a 4x. Pen's running out. This gives me 15x. Well, I know a 15 and 4 will either give me an 11 or a 19. Well, I wanted an 11. Okay, well, we said the signs would be different. Well, if I want a positive 11, I know a positive 15 and a negative 4 will give me a positive 11. So my minus sign goes here. My plus sign swings on around. All right, so I just can't forget that my final answer is going to have that 2 out front. So 2 times 5x minus 4 times x plus 3. Let's see what time it is. Hold up. Okay, yeah, I have time. Let's do B. Okay, greatest common factor. Looking at 12, 20, and 8, so the greatest number that will go into all of those is 4. Look for variables. This one does not have variables, so they don't have that in common. So let's go ahead and take out 4. I'm trying to get to 12x squared. Well, I know 4 times 3x squared will give me that 12x squared. Now I'm trying to get to a positive 20x. Well, 4 times a positive 5x will give me that positive 20x. Now I'm trying to get to 8. 4 times a positive 2 is 8. All right, this guy tells me my signs will be the same. I know they will be 2 plus signs because I look at that first sign. My factors of 3x squared are 3x times x. My factors of 2 are 1 and 2 and 2 and 1. All right, so since we said the signs are going to be the same, I can go ahead and put my pluses. And 3x times x. All right, let's try the first one. 1 times 2. That gives me a positive 1x. That gives me a positive 6x. I know The only thing that's going to give me is a positive 7x, which is not what I want. I want a positive 5x. So I know that does not work, so we are erasing. So my only other option is a 2 and a 1. So when I multiply, that gives me a positive 2x. 3x times 1 gives me a positive 3x. The only thing this is going to give me is a positive 5x, which is exactly what I wanted, so we got it. Alright, so cannot forget, we took out 4, so my final answer is 4 times 3x plus 2 times x plus 1. Alrighty, and then you got those last 3 on your own. Alright, sorry for being rushed, guys. Alright, see y'all tomorrow.